Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Your Mark on the World show. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe, and our guest today is Julia Fox Garrison, the best-selling author of Don't Leave Me This Way. Julia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Devin. Glad to be here.
We're thrilled to have you. Julia, you're a remarkable woman, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us today. You're really an inspiration to a lot of people. Back in 1997, you suffered a stroke. Tell us how that has changed your life.
Well, when anybody goes through anything such as a devastating injury such as mine, it changes your life completely in so many levels. I was a working corporate, climbing the corporate ladder, and I was at work when the hemorrhage started occurring. And when I came out of brain surgery, I was paralyzed on my left side. For all the way, I couldn't do anything. I lost all my independence. So how does it change one person? It changes not only, it changed me physically, emotionally, it changed my relationships. So it really was a big detour in Julia's life plan.
I can only imagine. Now, you told me in advance that you suffer from something called left neglect. Where your brain doesn't recognize the left side of your body. Tell us a little bit about that so that we understand the challenges you're facing even today.
So I have a lot of deficits. My left side has hemiparesis and spasticity and tone, and I wear a brace. But I also have this thing called left neglect where my brain doesn't recognize that I have a left side. It only knows that I have a right side, so it doesn't think about the left side. I have to physically think about my left side. So if I'm going up the stairs, I have to think that left leg up the riser, whereas a normal person would just walk up the stairs and it's done automatically in their brain command center. But my brain says there's nothing on the left side, so I'm always touching myself and trying to see where my limbs are.
Yeah, that's what an interesting phenomenon. And you've really been very courageous through this whole experience, but one of the things that you first did was to write a book. Tell us about the experience of writing your book.
Oh, well, first of all, Devin, I never had a fire in my belly to write a book. It just simply wasn't in my DNA. What I wanted was someone to write a book and dedicate it to me so I'd have my name in print, but not have to do the work. But when I was being churned through the medical system, and I was a long-term patient, I was a patient before patient-centered care, patient-focused care. All those are buzzwords now, but at the time, over 18 years ago, there really wasn't that focus. And so I wrote the book not for cathartic reasons, but more to show the medical community that there's a human being inside every patient. And on the other side of that is I wanted to show others who are facing something hard that they can overcome with the power of their human spirit and their positive attitude, because attitude usually is 90% of your recovery.
I get that. Tell us a little bit about what you think the medical community did that failed you or at least didn't support you through your journey.
Well, there were several things. Of course, there was some really good, I had some really good care too, and positive people. I just think at that time, there was no real training about the humanity side of the medicine. It was really to just treat the condition and not the person. And that's my whole message, is that we are a whole. We're mind, body, and spirit, not just our diagnosis. So a few of the things that happened to me was that I had a lot of negativity towards me, and not towards me as a person, but just towards my condition. Because, Devin, I had died on the operating table. And I actually, when I came, my brain was all blistered. And they didn't have much hope for me to live. So the hope was never given to me by anybody in a white coat. And for 9 months, no one would tell me I'd live. So I actually was labeled the stroke in room 417, or, I was labeled what my condition was. And then I understand that there needs to be a verbal shorthand sometimes, but when within earshot of that human, it can be very detrimental to recovery. And the other thing was I felt that people were setting my goals for me and telling me what to expect. And at the same time, I feel the human spirit can overcome by our thoughts. So I felt like the bar was set very low for Julia because they told me if I did live, I would never walk again. And Devin, I plan on running.
And I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you. So how do you coach medical professionals to behave, to enhance the outcomes for their patients?
Well, first of all, I think anyone who is going into the profession of medicine has a caring heart. You have to have that care and that compassion because you want to help people. So sometimes what happens is you get so lost into the science and to the bureaucracy of the business that you lose sight of the actual person. And so one of the things, I don't go into these conferences and speak about, science and charts. I talk about the human level, the human aspect of integrating humanity into the medicine.
So, Julia, you have become a role model to countless people over the years since your book has become so popular. But tell me a little bit about who you look up to. Who's your role model? Where do you go for inspiration?
It sounds really simple, but it's right here at home. My mom is a mother of 9 children, and she has 8 sons and me. And she has been a role model to me in practicing kindness. And her favorite word is kindness, and forgiveness is her second. And I find those 2 words really, come together when you want to be happy in life. And I know it sounds so simple, but my mother really is a special person. I mean, I love Pope Francis and Mother Teresa, but I just have to say, when you bring it right down to the core level of who I am, it would be my parents.
Oh, that's great. Now, as you think about the work that you do, that you've devoted yourself to nearly these last 20 years through incredibly challenging things, why do you do it? Why do you put yourself out there when you could, I'm sure, be excused, if you will, for sitting on the sofa and watching Netflix all day?
Oh, that's so dreadful to me. I have to say, when I came out of brain surgery, the very first thing I said when I came to was, I have a purpose here. I may never know what that purpose is, but I have a purpose. And I literally learned what my purpose was about 5 years later, that this was what I was meant to do. My career path was what I thought. My life plan was totally different than this. I never wanted to, I speak in front of thousands of people now, whereas in my corporate job, I was terrified of the microphone. But I think when you speak from the heart, and your intentions are good, you can't do wrong. And so for me, I feel so entirely blessed that I can impact others in a positive way. I can't be more grateful for what I have in my life. And to be honest, one of the things I say every morning that I wake up, I say, may I at least impact one person today in a positive way.
Well, that's really, I think, the point here is you and I and everyone who's watching this wants to have more impact, to do more good in the world. Can you give us one tip that would help us? We call these impact hacks, but if you could give us one tip, one impact hack that you've learned that would help us to have more impact in the world, we'd really appreciate it.
Well, I have a couple mottos. One is the positive outlook equals positive outcome. And I think if you really look at that, you can, if you really use that, you will have a better outcome. It doesn't mean your adversity is going to go away, but your outcome will be better. I also have another one called Hugs. Humor ultimately gives strength, because humor has been my vehicle. And I also love hugging, and I love making the connection with others. So I would say to make connections with others, whether it be just a smile, practice kindness, exercise forgiveness, do simple acts of kindness. You will only find that you'll be rewarded in the end.
Fantastic. Well, Julia, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us today. Before you go, tell us where we can find your book.
So Don't Leave Me This Way, or When I Get Back on My Feet, You'll Be Sorry, is available anywhere. I think it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. I like to support the independent bookstores. And it also it came out in audio in 2012. So you can also, but it's in Kindle, it's all formats. And actually, I just have to tell you as a side note that it's in Chinese after I did a documentary on happiness.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, congratulations on a tremendous, tremendous new career. We wish you every success, and thank you again for being with us today, Julia.
Thank you, Devin.
All righty. Let's do some good.